Welcome back, everyone. Michelle Briggs here, your host for Your Personal Real Estate. Today we are talking to Mark Raphael. Now, Mark is the owner of Raphael Insurance Agency. How are you doing, Mark?
Hi, Michelle. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Wonderful. Now, we are fellow chamber members, and I wanted you to be here today. So tell us about you and tell us about Raphael Insurance Agency.
Awesome. I'm happy to, Michelle. Born and raised here in Houston. My wife and I started our insurance agency about 15 years ago when I got laid off from oil and gas. And I had my insurance license, and we've tailored our operation around businesses and consumers insurance.
When I went to your office, and I visited you in your office, and you have so many trophies. Tell me a little bit share with us those trophies. You had so many, Mark.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words, Michelle. So when I got laid off, it's kind of like you had to put the pedal to the metal. So I decided to hit the streets. In 2009, I got awarded Farmers Insurance Rookie of the Year in Texas in 2009. And fast forward today, Michelle, believe it or not, we're actually ranked the #1 life insurance agent in the entire company out of 11,000 agents, and we're voted Houston Chronicle's best insurance agency in 2021 and 2020.
Well, I knew you were good at what you do, but congratulations on all your awards, and I am sure there are many more coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so your agency pretty much it covers everything, right? You insure everything. However, today, would you share with our real estate investors, our viewers, because they need to insure their rental assets or portfolios, what do you have that can assist them with insuring or making sure that they have the proper coverage?
Absolutely. So it's one of those things where you can call 10 people, get 10 different answers. And in my opinion, our goal is, in this market, our goal is to insure, to rebuild. Now, what I've noticed is people are concerned about increased cost of insurance. And it's really hard to stomach, right? But the reality is, the market was underinsuring properties, and then come COVID, come freeze, and contractors come out to rebuild. Well, that claim costs double because of inflation. So what we're seeing is insurance companies are leaving the Texas market, or insurance companies are not adjusting their reconstruction cost in order to really rebuild a client's portfolio. If they have rental homes, apartment complexes, or office buildings, or heck, even your personal home could be underinsured today. So I think that's one of the biggest concerns that I'm seeing in the market, and it's our job, I guess, to educate people.
And you definitely provide that education. Now, what are the different types of coverage that you have for a landlord owner, of a property? What in your opinion is the best coverage, and are there options, or are they all the same?
No, great question. So there are basic policies out there that are going to cover fire, lightning. Some people go through the state, which is the worst thing to do, because a lot of times it excludes water damage, it excludes liability. But in a nutshell, you want to make sure that A, you can cover your property to rebuild, B, you're covered for flooding, it's a separate policy, and C, you're covered for liability. What if the tenant gets hurt? They sue. God forbid somebody passes away. A commercial or personal umbrella policy provides increments of $1 million in liability. That could really be the cheapest lawyer you got in a retainer, in my opinion, to protect those assets.
Now, what would you like, or what else can we share with our viewers today? Is there a tip or two for the real estate investors and their rental portfolios, ensuring the rental portfolios? What can you share with them?
So, in my opinion, ensuring the actual owner, for maybe if there's partners, buy-sell agreements. It's not just the physical property that we're concerned about. We're concerned about liability. Well, and what if somebody suddenly passes? Is there a way to transition those properties? And a lot of our owners are actually setting up their life insurance plans like retirement accounts. So if nothing happens, they're using the equity in their life insurance to fund down payments on their apartment complexes, or even a single family rental property, Michelle.
That is a whole nother conversation, right? To really look at the life insurance policies to build portfolios.
Yeah, they're borrowing against their life insurance policies because it's tax-free to borrow, and they're funding their down payments for real estate projects. Once the real estate project is done, or they decide to sell, then they're putting the funds back in their life insurance. And the idea, Michelle, is instead of borrowing from a bank, you become the bank. So there's a lot of different angles outside of just insuring the the property that you can look at, whether it's liability or borrowing against your cash value on your life insurance policy.
Now, earlier today, we were speaking to James with Healing Consulting, and we were talking about property remodeling. One of the things, when a person chooses to add an addition or remodel, renovate the kitchen or the bathroom, even investment property, when you're upgrading, should a tenant move out and you upgrade the kitchen, how does that impact the insurance coverage? Do they need to call you and tell you what they're doing so that you can reevaluate that? How does that work?
Sure. So, Michelle, you're one of the best realtors in town, right? And let's just say back in the day, you bought a house in Katy that was 3,000 square feet, and you bought it at $125 a square foot, right? Well, let's say that house burned down today. What would your guess be to call a custom builder? It's between $200 and $300 a square foot to rebuild with a custom builder. So, if you add square footage, or you're adding, bells and whistles, granite, things like that. Just remember, if you want to insure to rebuild, you're going to have to factor in that square footage and today's cost to rebuild at that cost per square foot.
Got it. So we've been talking about investment portfolios and speaking to our investors. Now let's talk about residential. So our homeowners and our new home buyers. What, as you mentioned before, 10 different people will give you 10 different quotes. How do we assist and educate our clients in understanding what the difference is when it comes from someone that's offering $900 to someone's offering $1,100 and someone that's offering $1,600?
Yeah, and in reality, gosh, the rates you're going to see these days is probably going to be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Why? Well, some of the smaller insurance companies came into the market at a lower rate, and then they started experiencing claims. They couldn't keep up with the claims. So what happened? They became insolvent. Carriers like UPC, they just pulled out of the market because they couldn't keep up with the claims. So a lot of these insurance companies, Michelle, they outsource their claims department to lower their employee expenses, which means lower rates. So come claim time, there's a difference. You get what you pay for. If it takes 3 months to get your adjuster out, it's because they hired a third party. If you go to your national carriers, your Farmers, your State Farms, AIG, Chubb, they have in-house claims, and that's why they tend to cost more. Their coverages are more robust, and they cut the check out a lot faster than some of the smaller carriers. So I do believe you get what you pay for, and if the reviews and the company is smaller and the reviews aren't great, you're probably not going to have a great claims experience. But again, it's the agent's job to explain it's not just about price. Now, if it is about price, just know what exposures you're going to take, because if the price is lower, then the risk is on you. If the price is higher, most of the risk goes to the insurance company, and that's usually what most people want. So we got to find the happy median, especially with increasing cost of insurance. We don't want you to go insurance broke, but we also don't want you to have a claim and not have the coverage that you need.
I'm a huge advocate of insurance. I am, because I make my insurance payments religiously because it's so important. I hope that I don't ever have to call you. I hope I never have to place a claim. However, to know that the coverage is there is so important, and it puts me at ease in owning my home. So when you're looking at the residential, I always say, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I always tell everyone, please look at your insurance every other year, your homeowner's insurance, because there's automatically going to be an increase, I think, that across the board for all insurance carriers. It's kind of the cost of living, if you will. Now, is that a fair statement? Should they be looking at that? And when they are looking at that and doing comparisons, is it acceptable for them just to email you a copy of the deck page for you to review?
Yeah, because a lot of times we just got to shoot people straight. So here's the reality. Let's say you're with the same carrier and it has its natural inflation like everything else, right? It's kind of hard, Michelle, whenever your milk goes from $4 to $6, but when your insurance goes from that proportional percentage increase, it's a tough pill to swallow, right? So when you do send us the declaration page, we might give you recommendations on things to change your current policy, or we might tell you it's good where it's at. But here's the other thing. There are carriers out there that do the old bait and switch. They bring you in at lower premiums to get their as many clients as they can. Then the next year, the rate might go up higher than what you had with the carrier you had maybe a longer relationship with. So it's good to know the trends in insurance because I tend to see it happen.
And where's your office located, Mark? Because you're right here in Houston.
Yeah, Michelle, we're in the heart of Houston. We're located in the Greenway Plaza, Upper Kirby area on Richmond Avenue and Buffalo Speedway.
Well, I went by your office and you have a great team.
Thank
and
you.
that just speaks volumes about who you are, and I do acknowledge that for everyone, because when you have a team that is as solid as yours, and you, Mark, being a text away, it's priceless, especially when there is a possible insurance claim. It's having you there to guide me through the process, or your client, right?
Oh, that means the world to me, Michelle. Thank you for the kind words.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you, Mark, for being here today. We appreciate you, and we'll be right back after this commercial.